To Birmingham now, where talks aimed at ending a strike by bin collectors have finished without a breakthrough. Rubbish has been piling up right across the city after nearly 400 refuse workers from the Unite union walked out in a long-running dispute over pay. Residents say that the mounting bin bags pose a risk to public health, with rotting food attracting rats, cockroaches and foxes, and waste blocking access routes. This is quite literally kicking up a terrible stink in the city. A little earlier, I caught up with local MP Preet Kaur Gill and began by asking what it's like for her constituents there at the moment.
Well, look, there are lots of bins out because, one of the advice from the council is leave your bins out if they haven't been collected. And that means there's lots of blockages on many of the footpaths. I've seen bags that have been ripped open by the foxes overnight with rubbish out on the streets, into the road. Residents are sending me pictures of sightings of rats, of cockroaches. And as you say, with the weather being so nice today, you can start really, feeling that sense of the stench and the smell. And this will only get worse.
Really concerning for residents. What have they been saying to you?
Well, look, residents are really concerned because my inbox is overflowing with casework. Bins have not been collected for weeks and weeks, and this cannot go on. Of course, many people are trying to get to the tip. There is the tip truck that is coming out targeting the areas that are badly affected. 5,000 people are using this. But, what we can't have, this is not sustainable. I've written to the council saying that they've got statutory powers where they have got to really think about the public health of residents in Birmingham. We deserve a modern, reliable waste service. This is just unacceptable.
Yeah, I think anyone watching this will agree the scenes on the streets of Birmingham are unacceptable. What statutory powers do the council have? The Labour-run council, you are a Labour MP, it's a Labour-run council. What powers do they have to sort this out?
Well, the council has a lot of statutory powers. There's the Town Act. There are a number of statutory powers available to them, which they can use. They must take legal advice to look at what other measures that they can take. Bearing in mind, there is a strike which is ongoing. Not everybody is on strike. We've got to see that, trucks are leaving depots. There has been some blockages taking place there. We know the police have had to intervene in that regard as well. But there are other things that the council will be able to do.
But give us some examples, some practical things they can do, because you talk about statutory powers, the Town Act. For people watching tonight, what levers can the council pull to get the rubbish off their streets if they can't agree with the unions on ending the strike?
Well, look, statutory powers means that they will have to take legal advice because they have a larger workforce. There are people in environmental health, other parts of the council workforce that they could possibly bring in, bearing in mind they've got to do this within, the confines that there is a strike going on. But what the issue is here is 80% of the workers that were affected by this strike have actually taken a promotion or they've taken an alternative job. We're really talking about what is now 17 people holding a city of 1.2 million residents to ransom. So I'm urging Unite and the council to get back round the table to resolve this dispute, because the public health of the people of this city really matters to me.
The Unite General Secretary Sharon Graham has said nearly 400 workers are currently out on strike, but the council thinks people will believe that just a handful are impacted by its pay attacks. You've mentioned 17 people here. Why do you think it's just 17? What's their issue? And how are they holding the city to ransom, as you suggest?
Well, there's been a fair offer put forward to Unite. We've got into this situation because we need to transform the waste service. We've had equal pay liabilities in this city that have really crippled finances. We can never get back into a situation where we have another equal pay liability. And that's why I say 80% of those that were affected have actually taken the offer that was on the table. We are just talking about 17 workers. And this is just
If it's just 17 people, a lot of people are sitting at home tonight, watching the TV by their window, looking out of their window behind the TV and seeing the rubbish pile up, will go, why can't you just give those 17 people what they want? How much will that cost in comparison to what you're seeing on the streets of Birmingham at the moment? Can you explain that?
This is about wider transformation. Deleting that post matters because that's the reason we've had the equal pay liabilities. We cannot get back into that equal pay liability claims yet again. Nowhere in the country is it operating in terms of this additional post that was created in 2017. So actually transforming the waste service is really important. We've got to do that. 17 people can't hold the city to ransom, which is why talks have resumed today. We'll have to wait and see what comes out from that. But as I said, Unite needs to come back round to the table. There is a fair deal here. And, we've got to resolve this dispute because this is about the public health of the citizens of Birmingham.
Yeah, if it's not resolved by the talks today, how long do you think that Birmingham Council is going to let this go on for? Because both sides at the moment don't seem to be budging an inch, and it's the residents, your constituents, that are suffering.
Well, look, following my letter, they're saying that they're taking legal advice. They're looking at all other options that are available to them within the confines of what they can do legally when there is a strike taking place. And I'm keen that we try to resolve and find other alternative solutions so we can bring this dispute to an end. In the end, it is going to have to be about Unite coming back round the table with the City Council